Okay, so if you're in Pennsylvania, voting begins in, a week and a half. I can't believe that. But let's look at what the prices have done in Pennsylvania. According to the website, Bobflation, which targets Bob Casey and Vice President Harris for the prices that we're experiencing, and they are both responsible for those things. According to the website, a one-day ticket at the famous Hershey Park now costs $60 a day. That is a 50% increase from the admission in 2019. 50% increase. A 6-inch shorty hoagie from Wawa was $4 in 2019. It's now almost $7. A gallon of gas in Pennsylvania is averaging $3.62, which is up from $2.29 when Trump was in office. Other favorite items have gone up in the Biden-Harris economy. Plain cheesesteak from John's Roast Pork is up 23%. A Pittsburgher and cheese from Permante's is up 37%. Let me just say the word again, Permante's. Oh. It is a reason to go to Pittsburgh. It really is. There's not a lot of reasons to go to Pittsburgh right now, but Permante's is at the top of the list. Anyway, everyday items such as eggs, bread, and milk have also skyrocketed in the last 5 years, according to the website. Now, the economy, according to another survey, is in Pennsylvania the number one issue for Pennsylvania voters. Okay, so this should be easy, right? Because all of the progressive madness has come from Kamala Harris. Literally, she was the deciding vote on many of these massive projects like the Inflation Reduction Act, which was not designed to decrease inflation. It was designed as the Green New Deal. Even Joe Biden has come out and said, I didn't want to name it that because that's not what it did. Even he wanted to. Oh, my gosh. So they lied to you. Kamala Harris lied to you about the Inflation Reduction Act. They named that because they knew you would go, oh, well, we have to have that because inflation's out of control. By the way, so you understand, this is happening all over the country, but where things are really, really bad in a couple of categories is California and Minnesota. In California, Shake Shack is closing 6 of its restaurants. Why? Because progressivism made them increase the minimum wage to $20. They can't afford to stay open because nobody wants to pay $20 for a hamburger. So where are they shutting them down? Well, in the most progressive areas in Oakland and Los Angeles. Another reason for shutting those down, I'm guessing, is because that's where most of the crime is. Why? Because that's where the homelessness is, another effect of the progressive policies, and that is also where the crime is, also because of George Soros and Kamala Harris and their crazy reimagining of the police. Foot Locker is ditching New York City for St. Petersburg, Florida. Why is that? Well, it's too expensive in New York. Why? Because of high taxes. So what does Harris want to do? Harris wants a tax on unrealized gains. Now, this is just the beginning. She has a $5 trillion tax idea. And part of that, a big part of that, is unrealized gains. What is an unrealized gain? Let's say that your house goes up $100,000 in value in a year, okay? You have to pay 25% of that in tax. So that'll mean on April 15th, because your house went up in value, that means you'll have to cough up $25,000 on April 15th, in addition to what you already pay. Okay? Well, wait, what if my house goes down? Does the government pay me? No. So wait a minute, if I pay 25 grand because it's gone up 100 grand, if I have to pay you 25% of that, well, wait, hold it just a second. But that could go down before I sell it. I mean, I get that before I sell it. Why are you taking this from me? I don't have 25,000. That is what you're facing. That's what you're facing. How do you make a population have nothing? You tax them to death. This will absolutely collapse the economy. She is the Hugo Chavez or the Maduro of the United States of America. By the way, another way to collapse things is keep the borders open. Kamala Harris has said over and over again that the border wall is nothing but a vanity project for Donald Trump, that it is completely worthless. It will not make any difference. It is the largest boondoggle for American taxpayers. Well, now she's suddenly for it. Well, how can that be? Well, she's for it if we pass the massive amnesty bill. So she'll give a few things as long as we give amnesty to everybody that's here. No. Did you know that Massachusetts now is hiding $1 billion? They have spent $1 billion on illegal aliens, and they haven't talked to the residents of Massachusetts who pay for that. They haven't given them any details. No details. Wait, what? You just spent $1 billion on illegals? What is that $1 billion? Who's that $1 billion going to? In New York, do you know how much they're paying for illegals to be put up in hotels? Entire hotels. These hotels are getting rich. Anybody who owns one of those hotels, rich. How is America buying into this? How is America not seeing? I mean, if you want a town that has police with no teeth, if you want gang violence, if you want crime like you haven't seen, if you want enclaves of Muslims that are Islamists, they want Sharia law. They don't want to integrate. They don't want to be Americans. They want Sharia law to be the rule of the land. If you want that, move to Tim Walz State, Minnesota. You can get it. You can get now in new buildings in some places in Minnesota these really nice bathrooms where there's just a stainless steel hole in the floor. Because Somalis, that's the way they usually do. They just squat and take a dump and leave it in a hole in the floor. That's not our way of life, okay? That's not who we are. If I want that, I'll move to Somalia or I'll move to Iraq. I don't want that. Learn to sit on a toilet. It's the way we do things in America and in the West. I'm sorry, you're not used to it. I'm sorry that you're getting all of this money and a free pass to live here in America and you don't like it. I'm sorry. You want this? You'll get much more of this. You'll get an unleashed amount of this if you vote for Harris. Do you remember the gang that beat up the police officers in New York and, went to, were hauled in eventually, but then just released? Yeah. Well, that's a reimagining of the police and no bail. No bail. You don't have to make bail to get out. It's just a catch and release program, which is Kamala Harris's idea. She loves that. So you remember that gang? That was a Venezuelan gang. And Venezuela has sent up a gang that is kind of a public-private partnership with Venezuela. They use it to enforce things in Venezuela. and cause disruption in communities that won't play along. Well, this gang has been sent to America. That gang was the one that beat up the people in New York, the cops in New York. That gang, one of its members is responsible for the death of Laken Riley. That gang now is in Aurora, Colorado, where in Aurora, Colorado, there's this Venezuelan gang that is just taking over the town. They went into an apartment complex, knocked on the doors and said, time to pay your rent. And now you're paying rent to this Venezuelan gang, not to the landlord. And they've just taken the town over. Now, this gang is engaged in human smuggling, violence, money laundering, illicit drug trafficking, all throughout the U.S. And they now have an apartment complex on Nome Street in Aurora. Okay. Is the city going to do anything about that? I'm not sure. So in 2022, there were 41 reported crimes in Aurora. In 2023, there were 84 crimes. There were 66 crimes the first half of this year. If you want crime on the streets, you know who to vote for. If you like all of this craziness on I can't tell what a woman is, we're going to have non-gender bathrooms, so anybody can go into anybody's bathroom. You can, of course, that boy who says he's a girl can shower with your daughter at school. If you like all of that, keep voting for progressive people. Vermont Health Department has just come out and is discouraging now anyone to say son or daughter. Now, that's just in the classrooms. You can't use the word son or daughter. Now, why would that be? Because they are grooming your children to believe that parents are not in charge of their children. But children belong to everyone. Really? Even the pedophile teachers? Well, of course. But those don't exist. Okay. All right. After all, they care much more than you do. So now, in Vermont, home of socialism and communism and Bernie Sanders, the health department is now telling the teachers' unions that you really shouldn't say son or daughter in school anymore. Use child or kid instead. Oh, okay. All right. If this is what you want, you're going to get plenty more of it. In fact, you will snuff out capitalism and the Western way of life. And you will do it with this one vote. Or we can turn the corner and turn around and stop going down this dangerous road. We'll be the only ones doing it in all of the Western world, and we will once again lead the world to freedom. Are we going to be those people like our grandparents, or are we going to be so fat, lazy, and stupid that we will let the first time man ever tasted freedom was through this system of government? Are we going to be so stupid to let it slip through our fingers and lose freedom the world over? That's what this election is all about. They're trying to make it about Trump. They're trying to, because they can't have Trump in office. Trump really is the only one standing in their way. They cannot have him in office. They'll put him in jail. I believe they tried to kill him already. They'll kill him. They will cause riots on the street. Which one is worse? The devil that you know, Donald Trump, which, by the way, gave us peace and gave us a roaring economy. It was the left and the Faucis of the world that gave us COVID. It's the Democrats and the pharmaceutical companies that gave us the draconian lockdowns. It was the teachers' unions that destroyed your kids' education. You want that, you can get it. I think the devil that gave us the good economy and freedom and no wars, I think I'm going to go that way myself.